Now, the UN Security Council will be given new evidence of chemical weapons used by the Syrian rebels. That was the message from Russia's foreign minister, while his deputy is in Damascus working on a plan to have Syria surrender its chemical weapons. RT's Maria Fanoshina is in the Syrian capital.
Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia will transfer the evidence that it received from the Syrian government, according to which, as the Syrian government says, the rebels, the radical rebels, are behind the deadly chemical attack here in Syria last month.
We have a lot of information about the August chemical attack in Ghouta. We'll examine all of this at the Security Council, along with the UN Chemical Weapons Report. We still have to figure out who is behind the attack, but let me just reiterate that we have a great deal of information to work with.
So the Russian officials confirmed that they received this evidence, and now we know that they are ready to transfer it to the UN Security Council, and that is a breakthrough in the situation. In an interview to RT, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, who is now here in Damascus to discuss the deal on chemical weapons disarmament, said that the UN report is biased.
That report was distorted, it was one-sided. We think conclusions that were drawn by the group of experts are not sufficient. We are amazed by the ways how easy some far-reaching analysis has been produced on the basis of what we believe is a rather deficient amount of information. We have posed several questions when this report was discussed among Security Council members. So before we begin talking on what to do next, we need to figure out why it is so and why the group of UN experts is not going, as of now, yet to Syria to continue investigation of further incidents that took place on 3 subsequent days, that is August 22nd, 23rd and 24th.
There are still many questions in this story, and this is why Moscow is continuing to call for a full UN investigation in order to determine who exactly is responsible for the attack in August and who was behind that.
And we are still expecting a live news conference with Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, who's met with President Assad and Syrian officials in Damascus. And of course, we will go live to that and listen to it as soon as it begins.
Now, Russian officials are in Damascus to work out a plan for Syria's chemical weapons surrender. They've already met with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. A UN resolution to go along with a handover isn't ready for members to vote on yet. The use of force is still a major point of contention for the Security Council. And more questions have also emerged over who carried out a chemical attack in August. RT's Maria Fanoshina is in Damascus live for us now. Maria, any major breakthroughs at these talks in Damascus?
Well, Kerry, yes, we know that we just heard now that Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia will transfer the evidence that it received from the Syrian government, according to which, as the Syrian government says, the rebels, the radical rebels, are behind the deadly chemical attack here in Syria last month, which reportedly killed hundreds of civilians, including children, to the UN Security Council. So the Russian officials confirmed that they received this evidence, and now we know that they are ready to transfer it to the UN Security Council, and that is a breakthrough in the situation, of course, because we know that so far a UN probe confirmed that sarin gas was used here in Syria last month, but it didn't answer the question exactly who is responsible. A location from where the rockets were launched was neither pinpointed by UN investigators, although their findings clearly state that the sarin gas tipped warheads could have been amateur-made and not factory-produced. But despite all this, the US and its allies were very quick, following the report of UN, to claim that this is enough to blame the Assad government for the attack here in Syria last month. This is something Russia is strongly strongly opposing to, saying that on the contrary there is mounting evidence that the radical rebels are behind this atrocity. In an interview to RT, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, who is now here in Damascus for talks with top politicians of Syria and to discuss the deal on chemical weapons disarmament, said that the UN report is biased and one-sided. Let's now hear to what exactly he has to say about that.
That report was distorted, it was one-sided. We think conclusions that were drawn by the group of experts are not sufficient. We are amazed by the ways how easy some far-reaching analysis has been produced on the basis of what we believe is a rather deficient amount of information. We have posed several questions when this report was discussed among Security Council members. So before we begin talking on what to do next, we need to figure out why it is so and why the group of UN experts is not going, as of now, yet to Syria to continue investigation of further incidents that took place on 3 subsequent days, that is August 22nd, 23rd and 24th.
Well, we heard from France's foreign minister that it is very much concerned with this Russian position, saying that it is not really very right to call the UN report one-sided. Well, the Syrian government position is that the radical rebels are behind the August attack here in the country, and I have to say that this point of view is not very popular in the West, although this opinion is shared now by some members of the US intelligence community who warned the White House that they have indications, they have proofs that the rebels are behind this attack, and moreover that they have information that the nerve gas was provided for the rebels from abroad. And recently also we saw an unconfirmed amateur footage online apparently showing jihadists, Syrian jihadists, wearing gas masks and firing rebel rockets and shells in the middle of the night. And it says that this video was shot on the 21st of August, the date of this deadly chemical attack that provoked this international resonance and reportedly killed many civilians, including children. Well, there are still many questions in this story, and this is why Moscow is continuing to call for a full UN investigation in order to determine who exactly is responsible for the attack in August and who was behind that.
Okay, Maria Finoshna, live from the Syrian capital Damascus. Thank you. Now, do the rebels even have access to chemical weapons? Well, a former Pentagon official says yes. He showed RT what he said was a classified US intelligence document detailing how they could have obtained sarin gas. Well, Michael Malouf revealed where this compound was produced, and you can see how sarin gas was allegedly manufactured in Iraq and taken to Turkey before going on to Syria. Well, further documents obtained by him also state that sarin was confiscated from al-Nusra Front radicals. RT's Paul Scott has more now on these claims.
In May, there were reports coming out of the Turkish press suggesting that a 2-kilogram cylinder of sarin gas was discovered in the homes of Syrian opposition rebels connected with al-Qaeda through the al-Nusra Front. Now, at the time, Russia called for an investigation into those reports, but Turkey, Ankara, actually denied that the reports were true and said that no such weapons had been found. But analyst Michael Malouf explains that is indeed a possibility.
I have a report from a source who has direct connections with to classified information, and he basically told me that the U.S. military did an assessment based upon 50 indicators and clandestine interviews that the sourcing of sarin originated out of Iraq and into Turkey before some of it was confiscated in May in Turkey and that there has actually been a more significant amount of sarin production, both in Iraq and in Turkey, going to the opposition, principally Al-Qaeda. And we've had separate reports now that Al-Qaeda elements are rather significant numbers and now have permeated into the opposition. So the ability to be able to distinguish who gets what and where makes it much more problematic for this administration.